I don't want to sound compromised when I talk about like how violence is like a destabilizing factor. You know what I mean? That like that we shouldn't be sacrificing, blood to the gods of capital. And that's kind of like how we exist in society, right? That like we have to have perpetual wars and violence and imperialism and racism, all of that good stuff. Not good stuff, but you know what I mean? All of that stuff. And, it's just all like, at least playing into violence, I can see it, how it plays into the whole capitalist system. I tell you guys, it's like Ballard, it's like the Freudian death drive. That was the death drive I was thinking of. The, everything destroy, you know what I mean? Destroy everything. And I don't necessarily believe in that. I don't necessarily believe that we can get anywhere through that. And I have friends too, and we've been having this discussion and like applying like Deleuzian analysis to like the individual and how individual is an extension of the self. Personally, I just feel like in my personal life, cross-referencing this, here, I'm going to do laundry here, but cross-referencing this with my own life and my own experience, that there should come a point where we kind of overlook our differences and we come together on the things we unite on, and we don't try to insert ourselves so much and be insecure about how we view ourselves. Like, you have friends and you have people you care about, like, don't focus so heavily on how this other person perceives you. Like, I've had that same scenario play out in my life where like I was on both ends of that, where I cared deeply about how somebody perceived me and somebody deeply cared about how I perceived them. And like, the best way for those people, I wish I could just tell them, don't get too in your head about how I see you. Okay? The thing that matters the most when it comes to me is how much you love yourself. Like, if you really want to make me proud, love yourself and treat yourself right. And like, all those people I care about, who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares what they think? I don't like focus on that, but like the individual urge to insert yourself in a place where you don't belong, to affirm your view of yourself. You need validation of yourself. And like, I've been in that same bubble. It's just like, the most important thing to me is like going out and having a community behind me and like trying to tell people, hey, it's not about me or what I feel or like whatever my availability. I don't want you guys to think or put too much weight onto me, because like, I am here to love and like have a fun time, and like, I love my friends. That doesn't change ever. But like, consistency is so hard for me. It's just all like having a personality disorder. It's just all like, I don't like to think about individualism because like that leads to bad places for me. And like, I think that we can all do better by like enriching the world around us and participating in the world around us, our friends, our loved ones, our families. It's just all like, there are people out there who are just worth your time and energy and effort. And like, we don't have to prove ourselves so much, and we don't have to feel insecure about how other people perceive us. And like, it's not about perception, it's not about this, it's not about that. I would never spite my friends, no matter how stupid I am. But anyway, the big reason I'm against individualism, and this is another big point, thank you for watching to this point, another reason I'm really against individualism is because everything's so decentralized now. Information is so decentralized. There is no central mode of operation when it comes to information. Everything is everywhere. And like, am I participating in that? Yes. But this is a huge one. I'm not advocating on behalf of like my schizophrenic tendencies. I'm not going to schizo post on here. I might allude to it, but I'm not going to lean into it because I believe what I believe. You know what I mean? I'm a conspiracy-minded individual, but I'd rather preach the things that are like essential and like the core foundation of like how to operate. You know, when I talk about like the esoteric or the Abrahamic, I don't mean that as a framework to follow, right? That's how I bring in my abstractions. I don't think that like a super objective minded individual would go on that same, like, you know what I mean, that same direction or that same momentum. And I respect that and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I do what I do because I do what I do. Nothing makes sense for me. My world is contradictory. My world is unlinear or non-linear. But I also like, in politics, to follow the linear. I like to follow the linear as much as possible. That's super important. We need objectivity. We need to support objectivity. Objectivity is a very important thing. My personal disagreements and my personal gripes don't override my morals or politics. I'm not here to fuel my own ego. It's about making the world a better place for the people we love and care about. I care about the freedom of speech of people who, you know, work their way into making society a better place. I don't support freedom of speech for agents of chaos. And I will continue to say that. People who advocate on behalf of violence, schizophrenia, and like their main core fundamentals are like nationalism and white supremacy, I don't believe in that. I think that is so disingenuous and it's such a distraction from what actually matters in this world. It's such a distraction that these people belong in jail. You know, it's just all like, you can really ruin the fabric of society by just inserting misinformation, by just, you know, throwing, I don't know, just everything to the wall. Anybody will believe anything. You can tell anybody anything, but that is not why I'm here. I'm not here to run a cult. You know what I mean? This isn't like a cult thing. Like, of course, there's like those little waves and ripples. You might feel them, but I like my politics because it's just all, I like to be as linear and as objective as possible when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I've talked about things that I've cared about and I've thought about, but like at the end of the day, I'm always going to come back to this idea. You know what I mean? I'm wearing my bataille, and bataille was the big reason I got into this because, like, you know, this book, this collection of text is very inspirational for me. Just all like, I love Bataille, and I love like the way he abstracts his way into his stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's abstraction. You know, the Greek, you know, sacrifice stuff. There's this book or this video essay is called like Oil is Sentient, and like oil being the sentient creature that requires people to die for it, which is just all like, you know, kind of like an allegory for the Iraq war or like any war in the Middle East, really, right? That oil is like the sentient god who rules over the Middle East and requires blood sacrifice. You know, it's just all like, I love stuff like that. But like that ain't my like main thing. I don't actually like believe it. You know what I mean? Like, it's abstractions. I like my stuff. Apocalypse Now, you know, the Golden Bough, all that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too into that, but yeah. Hope this video was like decent.